here next I restrict this line at 2 points. So I call this point as A and this point as B. Okay. So observe that this line tells that in what direction it will goes, and also it goes from the point A to the point B, right? So this line is known as directed. This line is known as directed line segment. So it becomes a segment. The segment is AB. It starts from A and ends at B, and it goes along the direction, along this direction. Okay, this type of line is known as directed line segment. And also observe that this line has both magnitude as well as direction. Magnitude means it tells that it starts at A and ends at B. That is magnitude. And it also tells that it goes along this direction. So this line has both magnitude as well as direction. And similarly the quantity which consists both magnitude as well as direction, and that type of quantity is known as vectors. So you already learned in your first year in physics, right? So vector means a quantity which has both magnitude and direction. A quantity which has both magnitude and direction, and such quantity is known as vector quantities. Okay, a quantity which has only magnitude, a quantity which has only magnitude, and such quantity is known as what? Scalars. So this is the definition. So what do you mean by a vector? A vector quantity means a quantity which has both magnitude as well as direction. Vector means a quantity which has only magnitude. Such quantity is known as scalars. For example, I consider some examples: weight, height, velocity, acceleration, right? So these are all some examples of vectors and scalars. So here difference, find which one is scalar or which one is vector. So observe that the first one is weight. Weight means ಯಾರು ಎಷ್ಟು kg ಇದೆಯಾ ಅದು ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ ಎಷ್ಟು kg ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ weight either it may be 10 kg, 50 kg, 80 kg. So it has only one quantity, 20 kg ಇದೆ, 30 kg ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, right? So it has only magnitude. So this is an example for what? Scalar. Similarly height. So ಎಷ್ಟು height ಇದೆ, ಒಬ್ಬ person ಎಷ್ಟು height ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ 5.3, 5.6 ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಬೆಂಚ್ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಎಷ್ಟು height ಇದೆ ಅಂದಾಗ 3 feet to 4 feet ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ವಾ. So this is also has only magnitude, one quantity. So this is also an example for what? Scalar. So scalar means a quantity which has only magnitude. So vectors means which has magnitude as well as direction. So for example ಈ line ಅಲ್ಲಿ so ಇದಕ್ಕೆ direction ಇದೆ, magnitude ಇದೆ. This is also an example for what? Scalar. Also velocity, acceleration, these are all also example for vectors. So the difference between vectors and scalar is a quantity which has both magnitude and direction is known as what? Vectors. A quantity which has only magnitude is known as scalars. Understand? So the next, so observe that this line has AB, right? So it is represent like this, AB, and we write like this, and it is read as vector AB. So we know that since it has both magnitude and direction, this is a vector, right? So we represent this line like this. It is read as vector AB, or it simply represent as vector A. Okay, so which means it is a vector quantity between the points A and B, and also here the point A is known as initial point. Okay, this point A is known as initial point, and this point B is known as terminal point. Okay, so vector meter, so on. Okay. Magnitude means the distance between the initial point and terminal point of the vector, and it is represent like this. It is read as magnitude of AB. Understand? So the next one is, if I consider three-dimensional coordinate, so the next topic is position vector. Position vector. So what do you mean by a position vector? For that I consider three-dimensional coordinates, right? So this is x Theta is the angle between position vector and y axis, right? Cosine of this angle, that is cos beta, is equal to, it is denoted as m. Similarly, cos gamma is equal to what?